Hello, good morning. Welcome to the People's Voice on 107.3 Darling FM. I am Paul the Magician.
And I'm Zandas, Okeke, Otiba.
We have representative dignitaries from Federal Polytechnic Nekede. They are already comfortably seated here in the studio, waiting to share with us information that borders on academic activities in the institution. We have
Dr. Mrs. Antonia Nwosu, Deputy Rector Admin, Federal Poly Nekede, Owerri. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
We have Dr. Okafo Okori Afia, Dean of Student Affairs. You're also welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
And of course, on the entourage, we also have Mr. Nwosu Eva Bees. He's the Public Relations Officer, Federal Polytechnic Nekede, and Chief Dr. Fidel Onyeneke. He's the Special Advisor, Corporate Image Services to the Rector of the institution. You're both welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Well, we've had quite a number of issues to address. Of course, a few weeks ago we learned of a student that was killed by a caretaker and the fallout of that incident. We've also had students protest, and of course there's the issue of hike in acceptance fee and all of that. So let's start with you, Dr. Mrs. Antonia. What are the burning issues in the institution right now that you think parents and of course even the government should be aware of?
Thank you very much. We have come here to inform the general public, the stakeholders, the parents. There are no burning issues as far as we're concerned, but we have the issue of the so-called fee increase, and it is our responsibility to inform the public. There is no fee increase in our school. What we have is an increase in acceptance fee. Acceptance fee only for the part-time program.
No, not the entire school?
No, only for the part-time program, where we have increased from 30,000 to 40,000 naira.
Yet the students are kicking against the increment.
They are not students. The people we have made the increase for are not students yet.
Okay. So who are those protesting then? Who are those kicking against this increment? Because we've seen the reactions, headlines suggesting that this increment is not going down well with students of Federal Polytechnic Nekede.
I wouldn't say that is not going well, because it doesn't concern them. But the student leaders have come to find out. It's all in misinformation. Okay. You know, when they hear increase, they think it concerns them. But when their leaders came and the management informed them, told them that the increase was not even for them, they were satisfied.
Okay.
And they left. There has not been any agitation at all
from any student body.
From our students. Yes.
All right, Dr. Okorafia, let's look at the acceptance fee. What was the reason for the increment?
Okay, you will recall that the management of every institution, including the Federal Poly Nekede, has the responsibility to source revenue for its activities. The part-time programs are 100% funded by the institution. So the institution has to look for money to pay the salaries of the lecturers that are involved in part-time programs, provide services that are required there, etc. And with the increasing cost of administering the institution, there was need to look for other sources or increased sources. And so before management arrived at this decision, they considered options: increasing school fees, shutting down programs that didn't have many students, even though such programs are very important for the career progression of our people or increasing acceptance fee. So they settled for the one that has the less impact on our students. And that is why you know that the federal government does not fund even the salaries of part-time lecturers. And so in order for us to maintain the standards we have kept all these years as the most sought after polytechnic in the country and the #1 polytechnic, we didn't want to lower our standards, but we had to take the list of the options that were considered. That's why the acceptance fee was increased.
So those on the full-time program,
they are not concerned with this.
The federal government is funding the activities.
Yes, the federal government is funding the full-time program. Yes, they pay salaries directly from Abuja to the staff.
But the part-time is under the institution.
Clear, 100%. If you want to mount a part-time program, you should look for ways of funding them.
Interesting.
If I may come in,
yes.
The last time the fees were increased was in 2010. You will agree with me that from 2010 to 2010 to 2021, 11 years. This is the next time we are doing that.
Okay.
And between these years, there has been increase in almost everything. More than 200%, 500% increase. We have been trying to run this program, on a profit basis, but we have been managed. This time around, we said, okay, if we must provide the same kind of facility that the regular programs have, we must do a little increase, and it is only on acceptance fee where the sum of 10,000 naira has been added. And like I said, the people who are supposed to be paying these fees are not yet students.
Okay. Well, talking about revenue generation, I know one way revenue is generated is by making sure that students pay school fees. But there was tension a while ago, I think a month or two ago, when the management of the institution introduced a policy that says if you don't pay for your exam, you won't be allowed to write exams. I don't know if I got that information right. And part of the measure was to introduce a computer-based test that would make sure that only those who have paid their fees have access to the computer. But that did not go down well with students who felt they should be allowed to write the exams, and afterwards they can go ahead and pay their school fees. Has that issue been resolved?
Well, I think that it has been resolved to a large extent. But let me just correct the impression that this policy of no school fees, no exam was not introduced recently. It has always been a policy of all institutions that you have to register for your courses, which include paying the school fees. Because when we talk about school fees, there's no tuition there. All these fees are for certain services, including registration of courses, paying for examination fees, and so on. So if you do not register for an exam, how do you go and take such an exam? And it doesn't happen anywhere. So it's not a new policy. In the past, we used to have different strategies by different administrations. There's a particular administration used task forces. That the task force will go from one classroom to the other during examination period and drag out those that did not pay their school fees. We've also had a strategy where people are allowed to pay their school fees, but allowed to take the exam, but they will not see their result because those who did not pay their school fees will not have results. And so you hear students at times walking about that they're saying that they have missing script, that they took exam, that they did not see the result. But this strategy didn't want to have any contact with any human being, and because those other strategies were compromised one way or the other. But when the CBT was introduced, which was part of the policy of this present administration from the onset, to go smart, whereby the human interface will be reduced to a minimum. So when the CBT was introduced,
by CBT you mean computer?
Yes.
Okay.
When it was introduced, some of them now saw that there was no loophole to bypass it. And I want to tell you that part of the problem we had, which they claimed were students' revolt, came from some of the business centers who complained that the present management through the CBT introduction has stopped some of the illicit businesses they were doing, because they were generating even fake receipts out there. So when you go outside and hear people complaining against the Polytechnic, you need to find out what the real issues are.
Sorry, Dr. Okorafia. Are you saying that probably the external community influenced the protest, not exactly the students of the institution?
Of course, we found that in some cases there were students who came to take the exam. When they presented the receipt, the computer detected that they were fake, and they were asked to go and show where they got the receipts from. And as the management with security men were going to allocate such businesses, so many of them were closing and running away and complaining.
Was there any fee attached to this CBT?
There was no fee. It's just that it was foolproof that if you did not pay your school fees, it will single you out and you will not have a result.
So why would the students kick against a policy like that? I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, please go on.
The computer-based tests.
Yes.
Computer-based tests. There are courses that are, prone to computer-based tests. We now said, take computer-based tests. One of it, and one of the advantages, like we said, we are the management is running a smart campus. We want to reduce human interface. Because of it, some of them who would not want to pay school, computer does not recognize anybody. If you come, many of them don't have reg numbers, because if you don't pay school fees, you will not be given a reg number. And if you don't have a registration number, are you a student?
Be in the classroom, let alone write the exams.
So if you want to take a computer-based test, you must give computer what computer will see and recognize that you are a student. So it is based on that they are saying no CBT exam. They don't want to take CBT exam, but the computer CBT exam is very important, because when the students leave our institution, they are still going to take CBT to get a job, to get further studies, to do their other things. And in addition, we are going to also be able to get school fees. Without school fees, how can you run an institution of that nature? When we even have our fees are very, very affordable.
I would like to find out how often management of the institution interfaces with the students of the institution, probably through their unions and all of that, explaining some of the policies and decisions of management. How often does this take place?
This happens very, very frequently. Before any major decision is taken, that students, we discuss with the students body. In fact, so the SUG and other officials of the students union body, because at times we deepen our reach with the students union body through the Council of Departmental Presidents, through the Council of Royal Fathers, to ensure that all segments of the Polytechnic student body are consulted. So we usually do, and that's why, if you noticed, during the period of the protest, some of the students were accusing the students' leadership of siding management instead of siding them. Because if you have been carrying the students' union leadership along in all policy making decisions, you consult them, you discuss. During that period, they asked for extensions, several extensions, which were granted. So when management now said we can't keep extending because this semester must be concluded, and that protest started, there was no way the students' union government will blame management, having been part of these discussions over here. So we usually do consult.
You know, one of the issues raised by students who felt that it was too short a time for them to raise the money for their school fees was that, first of all, they've been on a long period of COVID-19 lockdown, which had affected their parents' business and it was salary payment, and they felt that the institution was supposed to be sympathetic to their plight and give them time to pay their school fees, and so if you look at it from that prism, perhaps, like Zandas asked, communication with the students for why the institution insisted that they have to pay their fees before the exams maybe was not effective enough.
No. You see, this semester in question started in September 2019. And the regulation, which is the student handbooks, clearly states that you need to register your courses within the first 2 weeks or maximum the first 3 weeks, where you will even pay a late registration fee by the 3rd week. But that was not applied because, like I said, the Students' Union government came and met with management not to implement that
at the time.
Yes, because the regulation says that if you're unable to register within the first 3 weeks, it is assumed that you have voluntarily withdrawn from the polytechnic. But management kept extending. So from September 2009, considering the lockdown and so on, until when we resumed in November 2020. And more time was given.
That's a long time.
Yeah, more time was given.
Hold your thoughts. Hold your thoughts, sir. We have to take some commercials now. We'll continue from here. Stay tuned.
107.3 Darling FM.
The People's Radio.
107.3 Darling FM.
The People's Radio.
You know me, who gang? You are moving to the switch gang. It can be with the switch gang. Right now you are moving to the switch gang. Set I want gang, gang, gang.
Join the switch gang today. Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers, a member of Standard Bank Group.
Charles! Yes, Mama? Go bring 2 sachets of hyper bleach come. What you na? Because I go use one take soak the whites. Then go use the other one take it all the yama jams. But I don't see any yama jams for here now. They small well, oh, but they did it. And now why I trust only hyper bleach to take you all of them pata.
Make all your white cloths they continue to be white and they kill all the virus and the yama jams. What will cause sickness for your house with the disinfecting power of hyper bleach. My name na Ife, but my friends they call me Phil. Every time I play, na so they lose like play. But as I begin play 1xBet, na so my level change. Now my friends they call me Efrebo. 1xBet, you go win. You go win so you go tire. Go for 1xbet.ng for more to read. It's a real when you're gas in a cylinder. Raging energy services, we are already a house west. A cylinder, you're there, so Raging energy services. Nke na-ebugharị silinda iburu gbada
Maazị Ibe, ike agwụla m. Amaghị m ebe ọzọ ga-abụ ndị agbata gas nji esi nri. Ndị sure. Maka
ozugo nwaanyị orogwe ekpesazina maka na ndị na-eji mega gas plant anwụchaala ọzọ n'orogwe anyị a n'enugwu oke n'ekwekwa bọgịrị savisi ha na-enye kara aka ha buru ụzọ ha nara gị silinda gị gbajuru gị ya ojupụ m n'ọnụ ha ewere aka ha dọnyere gị ya na moto ha na-erekwasị silinda na asesirizi ya ma na-edozikwazi silinda mebiri emebi mgbagaba ugbu a na uhu afọmakọ dị so n'ụlọ ụka ndị Salvation Army orogwe Owerri West Local Government Area of Imo State ka ị bara okwu n'ụlọ onye akara ekwentị a 09137720001 maọbụ ị gaa na webụsaịtị anyị www.regingas.com.ng ma cheta na anyị nwere Regin Gas Plant n'Egbu Road n'iru Relief Market Owerri ya na Warrior North Pocket Layout Irete Egbada Junction Onitsha Road Owerri Regin Mega Gas Plant etimesi ebirila ọkụ.
And more, visit our website today on www.flyairpeace.com.
Hello, babe.
Are you still there? Can you hear me? Alright, yeah. So I see a VIP bar for choice beverages and drinks, a restaurant for African and continental dishes, a 300 to 500 seating capacity event center, exquisite rooms and suites at pocket-friendly prices. And guess what, babe? For you and I, there's a pool and a poolside bar and a gym.
Spend time with family and friends at Zaza Hotel. Zaza Hotel is located at number 28 Yaradua Drive before Lord Chosen Church, Owerri, Imo State. For more inquiries, call 0803-785-8386 or 0803-743-2115.
Wow, it's here. What's that? What's here, Mom? The new Maxi 20 hand sanitizer. Tell me about it, Mom. The new Maxi 20 hand sanitizer is carefully produced to help us fight germs and provide the right protection for every family.
Introducing the new Maxi 20 hand sanitizer to help you fight germs every day.
Mom, now I can clean up germs that touch my hands and be fine, right? Yes, son, you can, because Maxi 20 will keep you protected. Yippee!
Maxi 20, war on germs. Another quality product from Intercontinental Distillers Limited.
Luxury building and accessories.
Building and Accessories Limited. Ebola Butano Budanyo. Italian chip coated roof tiles. Bambam Italian roof tiles. It's a Kuchenulo. Kata. Asuna Giborota on Kedele Casina Mirina Mumaya. We also came through Italian stone coated roof tiles. Get the luxury building and accessories limited name with Rani. All the Logina. Galaxy roof tiles. Yellow luxury roof tiles by Feru. Opuya paper. Getting a tiles. Already Jimara Puriche. Or the Tapuyanulo. Or the Yanaro. Or Quataya Baluya. Or the Hega Tapuya. All of our Conga. Get able to believe Bakaya. Opuno Kamu. Opuno Kamino. Okay, the Karaoke to Pesari. How are you? Very shingle. Bond. Classic. Shape. Roman. Milano. Tisa. Slate. Containing just on the teacher. Kolo Yadi Gatari Atario. I can give 50 years warranty. 070 40 333 333. Kata. Italian stone chip coated roof tiles. Dr. Homel's advanced formula get 21 bioactive nutrients. We go make your body strong. Kakaraka. You get hemoglobin when they use build your blood. Siberian ginseng and B complex for energy and strength. Choline for fatty liver and brain function. Omega-3 for cardiovascular diseases. Plus including green tea and lycopene. If you get pregnant, make you consult your doctor before you use them all. Every family need Dr. Homel's Obonge multivitamins and mineral supplement. A day for liquid and tablet. Dr. Homel's smells and Nahabaya draw.
You're still tuned to 107.3 Darling FM's 27 minutes past 9, and we are hosting the management of Federal Polytechnic Nekede. Matter of fact, we have the Deputy Rector Admin, Dr. Mrs. Antonia Wonsu here. We have Dr. Kafo Okore, who is Okorafia, who is the Dean of Student Affairs. We have Wonsu Eva Beze. I'm sorry if I didn't get that name pronounced well. He is the Public Relations Officer at Federal Polytechnic Nekede, and Chief Dr. Fidel Oyeneke, who is the Special Advisor, Corporate Image Service to the Rector. They are all here in the studio, waiting to answer your questions about activities playing out at the institution. Before the commercials, we're talking about the students' reaction to the CBT method of ensuring that students pay their fees before they write the exams, and the fact that some students felt the management should have perhaps be sympathetic to the plight of their parents who may be having financial difficulty paying their fees because of the pandemic, the lockdown, and even NSAS that plagued 2020. So let's continue from there.
Okay.
Let me say that before the COVID lockdown, we were preparing to take exam on that Monday. So if our students pay school fees, they wouldn't have had any problem with the lockdown. It was because they did not pay the school fees. We continue to, tell them we have been student friendly. The management is the institution generally is student friendly. There are institutions you won't even come to class without paying your school fees. Even in secondary schools around, at the gate they wait for you. Where is the receipt for this? Where is the teller for this? The teller for that? We don't do that. We taught them, and at the point we invited their leaders. We used their leaders. We use the lecturers. We use their HODs. We also send memos to them. Say, please, before you come to examination hall, the handbook says 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but we have discountenanced it. So the issue of lockdown, it's not an excuse, because we were supposed to take this exam. I want to inform our listeners that the semester we're talking about, it should go into Guinness Book of Records. A semester that saw 2019, saw 2020, saw 2021, one semester. It has never happened. While our students were on lockdown, the management were going to work. We're securing the compound for them, and we pay security men. We sweep the place, clean the place, we pay the cleaners. We do several other things that we use money to do. So it's not just that it's a lockdown, everybody, we locked the whole premises and went back to come and reopen it when the lockdown was lifted. No, we still paid.
Have the students adjusted to this new CBT test method
to a very large extent?
That they pay their fees?
To a very large extent.
Okay.
We are talking with them, and they are now understanding that you cannot run an institution without, you can't come to a tertiary institution without paying school fees.
Right.
All right.
And we have also concluded the CBT exams. Whatever is left over is concluded. So they cooperated and they've taken the exam.
Okay.
Based on CBT.
I also want to say that those of our students that are indigent, we give them scholarship. Those that are indigent.
What do you mean indigent? What do you mean?
The ones that cannot pay school fees, the management took quite a lot. You can write to the management and say, please, I'm in this school, I have passed, and I cannot pay my school fees for so reasons. The management will investigate it and give you scholarship. I will give him quite a lot of them scholarship. It's on record.
Interesting.
Well, on our Facebook page, there seems to be quite about 2 reactions here. One is from Eddie Chibike. He says, nobody briefed with the students on anything, not even the so-called student union government. So I don't know how you want to react to that one.
Okay, my reaction to that is that periodically the management will organize a solemn assembly where staff and students are invited and major policies are raised and discussed. The problem with some of these students that they don't attend such assemblies. As the Dean of Student Affairs, every year I organize orientation for the new students. And you can imagine where we give admission to up to 2,000-3,000 students, and you organize orientation for them, and only 1,000 will attend. How will the other 2,000 that did not attend know about it? So, but these processes go on periodically. There was a solemn assembly before Christmas. There has been one this January. There should have been one on Monday that was shifted. So you can notice the frequency. And this solemn assembly is for staff and students with management, interactive session. So they should take advantage of those assemblies, in addition to consulting with their SUG executives.
Okay.
Because they also meet with them.
All right.
And sorry, like I said, they also have a council of departmental presidents, where all the departmental presidents come together and meet with the SUG. When they get information, they go back to their different departments and share them. We also have council of royal fathers, where you have NJABA students or those students and so on. Their leadership also meet under that umbrella of council of royal fathers with their laws and so on. They discuss with the SUG executive. They discuss with us, the Division of Student Affairs. We share such information with them. And when they go back to those constituencies, they also discuss them with them. So students need to be active, participate in some of these bodies and groups for them to get information. You don't get all the information when you sit down in your house alone without interacting.
All right, quickly, let's talk about accommodation for students.
Yes.
I mean, we learned of the unfortunate incident that led to the killing of a student, an undergraduate, because of an issue he had with the caretaker. First, I would like to ask, is there accommodation facility provided by the institution for students? Secondly, those who live outside the school premises, does the institution, the management, account for their well-being? Let me put it that way, just so that whatever issues they're having with their caretakers, with their landlords, the management is aware.
Okay, let me start by saying that we have accommodation for our students in campus. Unfortunately, it's not enough. Okay. And because of that, we have majority of our students coming from off campus. Now there are investors who have built hostels outside the campus, and they are accommodating majority of our students. In terms of having control over what happens outside there, the answer is no. But recently we've been trying to interface with the landlords. We held a conference with them January 2020, where we tried to bring them under an umbrella where we can interface with them to ensure that our students' welfare and security are ensured. Because over time we've always been going to the police to secure the release of our students that are arrested either by their landlords or caretakers or neighbors. We encountering problems in that regard. So we decided to meet with them and managed to set standards. And by so doing, we decided to accredit some hostels, so that if you want to house our students of camp, we give you conditions, including that you should not allow students to cohabit, boy and girl living together in the same room or in the same hostel. We've introduced that they should have male hostels and female hostels. We should bring the standards we have inside the campus outside for those who want to offer such accommodations to our students.
Are they complying? Because these are private landlords.
I'll get to that stage. We've also insisted that when you're building hostels, you must, for us, for our students, you must house only our students. It's a situation where you put police students, put non-students, businessmen, Yahoo boys within the same hostel. When the police come looking for the Yahoo boys, they not arrest our students in the process. So if you're going to provide hostel accommodation for our students, we insist that you only house our students. There are other conditions we spelled out that are morally justified at all levels, But some of the landlords refuse to comply with that, saying that these are their businesses and we should not dictate for them. But in the next stage that we are going into, or indeed I need to confirm that some landlords agreed with us, some even who are acting as not just as landlords but parents of these students who live with them, say that this is the right thing to do. So some of them have applied, we sent out applications. More than 117 of such landlords have registered with us, and we've been discussing ensuring that these standards are kept. Unfortunately, some of these ones that are having issues or problems are those who refuse to comply, and you can see the effect of their refusal, because they treat the students as commodities, and we've worked so hard to ensure that the students don't react accordingly. You can imagine what the management did to ensure that students don't go visiting that hostel where our student was killed.
Has justice been served in that matter? The family of the boy, is the institution assisting to ensure that
we are discussing with the family, even when the matter was in the police. Sorry, was originally reported to the police. The management now wrote a letter to the higher police authorities to ensure that justice is actually made. We are also making contact with the family. By next week, we will visit the family of the student. We had a previous incident, and last week we also visited the family of that incident. Despite the fact that these people live outside the campus where we don't have control, but we extend our compassion to ensure that the welfare and security of the students living off campus are part of our priorities.
All right, let me come back to the deputy rector here. I would like to know the relationship between the institution and its host community, because the Dean of Student Affairs has painted a picture of some complying over this hostel accommodation and some not complying with what the school is proposing. But let's look at the general relationship of the host community and the institution.
I think to a reasonable extent it is cordial, because when we met, the last meeting we had with the landlords, the Eze of the host community, the Ezes were there. They came, and the Eze is quite in support. Who is the person in charge of our host community? The Umoma Eze was there. The one other Eze was. I think to a reasonable extent, it's not 100%, but we can look at it and say we have a good cordial relationship with our host community.
Do you meet with them often? These meetings, is it regular?
Yes, so, we meet with them. We use them, some of them for security purposes. So some of them we also invite them when there is need to say something concerning our students living in the community with them.
Well, we'll have more questions here in the studio. However, I think at this point, we would like for parents, guardians, those that are interested in the matter that we're discussing right now, listening to us from their homes or wherever they are, to join the conversation by calling us on 0815-050-1073. All right, do well to turn down the volume on your radio before you call. If you have comments, questions, now's the time for us to take them. Hello, good morning.
Hello,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
My name is Dr. J. I'm calling from England.
All right, go on.
The truth remains that I don't know where our policymakers come from. Is that they are not in this country or they are somewhere else? Because they have their own stable income. You increase the acceptance fee for part-time students. Are these part-time students not on? Okay, you said they're not students. Are they not Nigerians? Are they not looking for a way to better their odds? You are increasing the fee at this particular horrible time right here. How can somebody make such a policy? It is not as if the students are using their paying for it. It is the same structure that how you know the regular students, part-time and weekend students. So why are you increasing part-time fee to cushion what you get? The government pay even the regions that teach for the part-time fee also teach for the regular students. Why does everybody just manage? You know, it's easy to say anything because you're a lecturer, you're getting money. 99% of Nigerians are not getting money, we are getting money. So people need to make policies that are friendly to economy and to people for government. May God help us.
Okay, first caller is not comfortable with the increment of the acceptance fee for part-time students. We'll take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. All right, Wuja, go on.
Wuja, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just be talking about school fees. I think the Federal Polytechnic Lekki has been kind enough to students and they have been student friendly. Then, you see, this exam was to be taken before the lockdown. And by that time, students ought to have paid their fees before that. And the idea of them coming now, still not pay their school fees, it's not fair. Then, and secondly, I have a brother training here. I got him school fees. You know, he didn't pay the school fees. He didn't pay it before the lockdown. Then, when I discovered, showed me the receipt and everything, he was unable to do that. I had to go to the bank again to pay by myself. My parents may not know that. But you say this is using the money for things that are not for them to do. Trying to have regular dates in their rooms. What will they then? I mean, the dates when they get to start work. Then that is that. Then for the acceptance fee, it's not real for them. It doesn't concern them in any form or shape. Then that is for the incoming. So after all, many of those work people come, they're not even many of them may be screened out. So I don't know why they should riot because of that. And you see, the Federal Polytechnic in Okeke is the best polytechnic in Nigeria, and it is the highest polytechnic in Nigeria. And the third time you see that they say Federal Polytechnic follow. I mean, the others follow if they can, and if none of them cannot. So the students should pay their fees, and they are protecting. Some of them are supposed to have to be students because no school fees, no students.
Thank you.
All
right. He has actually
balanced it.
Laid the blame on students who will get the monies from their parents but refuse to pay, and said he had an encounter. We have another caller waiting to join us.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Zandas the Great.
Good morning.
Yeah, JP Clark. I come from Nekede.
You're welcome. Go on.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the management of the Federal Polytechnic Nekede for coming on air to give explanation of issues bothering the students. You see, I want to appreciate that. I am a little taken aback or surprised that an acceptance fee can be higher than the school fees itself. It is quite unusual. It's just big to me to understand that acceptance fee now is higher than the actual school fees. And again, coming to the interface or kind of communication between students and management, it has not been regular, contrary to what the dean is saying. In which is also assembly. During my days in here, I was a member of the student government. We call it conference or congress, not a school assembly. So that has to do with the religious gathering. And when you call students, they clap and sing and go. You are not taking time to address their problems. So she be often and periodic. I've not noticed it recently, and that I believe is what they causes people. And when you don't give people information, they take whatever they hear around in terms of food. So I expect they should make it periodic. Let's go through and then to tell them what is happening and make sure that the communication gap between them and the students is so much close that they don't take information and rumor and begin to transition spread it across.
Thank you.
So that is my position.
Thank you. Okay, let's have your reaction, especially from the last one. First of all, how much is the school fees compared to the acceptance fee, and then the fact that he needs more regular interface between the management and the students.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that there's no regulation that stipulates the ratio of acceptance fee to school fees. The school fees in Nekede is not static. It ranges from school to department to program. For instance, the part-time programs pay a little higher than the regular program. But you can see it ranges from 24,000 to 41,000, depending on the program you are in. This issue of acceptance fee, you see, like we said, that it does not actually concern the students. While this discussion was on, out of the less than 2,000 admissions that were offered, that by Friday, 1,000 of such people have already paid this acceptance fee. So the question is, who are the people actually complaining? Some people just and remember that this is just paid once, and this Federal Polytechnic has a catchment area of the Igbo-speaking states, including River State. So while people on radio, some radio stations discouraging people talking about acceptance fee, those other people are coming and paying the acceptance fee. Because people know where they want to come to Federal Poly Nekede, leaving the other Federal Polytechnics in their state, in their home states, and they are coming here. So when somebody complains about some of these issues, is he suggesting that we should now increase the school fee so that it will be higher than the acceptance fee? I told you the options that management considered before taking this decision, and nobody has suggested a better option than that so far.
Okay.
So I think that we have noted the issue he raised about inadequate information. But remember that apart from the solemn assembly that I mentioned, it's not correct to say that solemn assembly is just where people come and clap hands, because the management usually uses that occasion to usually talk. In some cases, the rector will speak, the deputy rector will speak, the registrar will speak, the bursar will speak, all, and even the librarian, all concerning their offices. And you cannot just call that clapping of hands. But under that solemn atmosphere, the essence that people will now speak the truth. Do you understand? We also have General Assembly, which is held in the ceremonial pavilion, where everybody is a larger area, but that is not held as often as the solemn assembly. And when I mentioned the relationship we have with the Council of Departmental Presidents and the Council of Royal Fathers, I think people should understand how deep this aspect of the consultation is, because it gets straight to the people that we are talking about. But we have noted what is just said, because all the issues that are raised have been noted.
Good.
We look for other ways of making sure that more people are consulted or reached in terms of information dissemination.
All right. I don't know. We have 30 seconds before we take the next commercial break. So if what you want to say.
No, but I want to say that, despite the fact that I'm the deputy rector, I also teach. Some of our lecturers are encouraged, when you get to class, encourage the student to pay school fees. When they say the information is, I may not easily accept it. And of course, when I was the director evening program for years.
I'm sorry, we'll have to interrupt you.
Okay.
So we'll bring you some commercials and then we'll continue after this. Stay tuned.
107.3 Darling FM. The People's Radio.
so we have 5 minutes left to take as much information as we can take from the management of Federal Polytechnic Nekede. We're going to start with Dr. Antonia Wosu, the Deputy Rector.
I want to inform
this will be your concluding statement.
Our listeners,
yes, ma'am,
that we are student friendly. They are our students. They are our children. We treat them very, very nicely. And this one, they say they are not having information, is I disagree, because we also ensure that our PRO goes to their platforms, various platforms, to give them information from management. So for them now to say that the information is not adequate, they are not we have General Assembly. If you don't want to come to the Solemn Assembly, you come to the General Assembly. Even when we invited the landlords, we also invited the students. How many of them came? Most of the landlords came, but many of the students that were, standing in for, trying to make sure that they are comfortable. The hostel we have that we say is not adequate, it's not fully occupied. It is 15,000 naira you stay in our hostel with all the security and all the things attached. But in the hostels, you have some of them for 150,000 naira. Is it not their parents that are paying?
That's the off-campus.
The off-campus. They prefer to go off-campus. Instead of, when I was a student, I was on campus for that matter. So I don't see why a student cannot come for 15,000 naira. So they make their choice.
Okay. Dr. Okafo.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that information is key in whatever we do. I've been trying to ensure that the correct information is disseminated. I'll also ask those who have any form of confusion to approach the Division of Student Affairs so we can clarify issues. We receive not just students, parents who come to make inquiries. And by the way, we have a website at www.fpno.edu.ng. When parents have issues they need clarification, they want to find what's happening, they can always go there and find out what exactly is happening. Okay. The Federal Polytechnic is cut out to assisting our students to ensure that they graduate and graduate well, both in character and in learning. We'll continue to do that despite some of these distractions.
Thank you. We'll take, even if it's 30 seconds, to hear from Mosu Eva, who is the Public Relations Officer.
Thank you. I want to also remind us that the platform with the students body, every information that come into the school, about the students, they're all aware. Not that I communicate to the entire school to the platform, I communicate directly to the student union government president and the publicity. I also have a committee of all the public relation the departments, the publicity department of a person of every department in that school, where I have meetings and interact with them. I also want to collaborate with Awoja, who also said that some of them eat their school fees. They do, some of them do. Because a group of them one time come and told us that they have eaten their school fees. So the problem is more than what. And I want to also talk about some radio stations who now want to collaborate and say something they don't verify.
Thank you. Chief Dr. Fidel is here with us. Just take 10 seconds.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let our students appreciate the fact that we have a management, and the decision of management is a collective decision. When management takes a decision, you don't hold anybody, including the rector, responsible. And of course, the management will continue to act as father and mother too for our students. Communication is important, and thank God the rector is even thinking of reactivating the campus radio being run by the students of the Federal Polytechnic Nekede. And once this commences, there is nothing that in terms of relationship that will not be built. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
We thank the management of Federal Polytechnic Nekede for taking out time to inform parents, guardians, and everyone who may have gotten the wrong information. We appreciate your time.
It's our pleasure.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
This is where we anchor and wait for another edition tomorrow at 9 a.m. for The People's Voice. Stay tuned. I am Paul the Magician.
And I'm Zandas Okeke Otiba.